877-WVU, the number 4HRT, or visit wvumedicine.org/heart.
Ready to update your home? Find what you need at Zen's Construction Warehouse. Their friendly, knowledgeable staff will be happy to help you the old-fashioned way. Zen's is open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5:30, Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 2. 485 Walnut Hill Road in Continental. Zen's Construction Warehouse, 724-366-8274. Or visit Zen's Construction Warehouse's Facebook page.
Zen's Construction Warehouse, our surplus, your savings.
Saving money when you buy a new home isn't a fantasy. It's reality at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. With up to $5,000 in instant savings during the Sign and Save sales event, it's the perfect place to find the home you've always wanted. So don't let your dream home stay a fantasy. Visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon today at 4500 PA 51. Terms and conditions for the Sign and Save sales event at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Available only at participating Clayton Homes family of brands retailers through August 31st. Amount of savings may be limited. Ask for details. May not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply.
If you are looking for a trusted local law firm with a strong commitment to their clients, look no further than Zebley Law Offices. Attorney Zebley has been practicing law in Fayette County for more than 4 decades. Although specializing in bankruptcy, Zebley also handles real estate matters, civil suits, collections, wills, powers of attorney, and more. If you need legal help, go with a name you recognize and trust. Call Zebley Law Offices today at 724-439-9200.
NovaCare Rehabilitation in Uniontown is accessible for all of your recovery needs. New at NovaCare is pelvic floor physical therapy, a specialized program to treat patients with pelvic floor dysfunction related to bladder, bowel, sexual function, and pregnancy postpartum. These issues can affect both women and men and include urinary frequency, urgency and incontinence, pelvic pain, constipation, IBS, menopause, painful periods, and more. Call 724-437-0556 for an appointment in Uniontown. Personalize your care with NovaCare.
For funeral services from pre-need to at-need, burial or cremation, call Gates Funeral Home and Crematory, located at 136 North Gallatin Avenue in a beautifully restored historic home. Family owned and operated by Rick Gates, former Brownsville resident and Guyville alumni, the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory offers warmth, convenience, affordability, and ample parking. With a knowledgeable funeral director and compassionate staff, the Gates family and the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory are ready to assist you.
The Penn State Master Gardener is being brought to you by Rich Farms. Stroll through their nursery or make an appointment to see what their experienced staff can do for your landscaping. Open Monday through Saturday from 8 till 5. Now, today's Master Gardener.
Good morning. This is Bert Sessler, Master Gardener with Penn State Extension, and today I want to talk about some August gardening tips and chores. Thinking ahead. Now is a great time to order bulbs. Order spring bulbs and garlic for fall planting. Order them now. Planting the garlic at the end of October, when most plants stop growing but the ground hasn't begun to freeze yet. You can order peonies for September planting. Propagate your plants by getting cuttings and bringing cuttings indoors to grow for next year's garden. Geranium cuttings will root if placed in coarse sand or soilless mix. Water them and place them in a plastic bag. Water the garden weekly if it isn't getting enough rain. Continue to water first-year tree and shrub plantings regularly. Some other ideas. Very soon you can plant leafy greens like lettuce and spinach for fall salads. Potatoes can be dug as soon as the tops die. Let potatoes sit on top of the soil for 2 or 3 hours to dry. Then place them in a burlap or mesh bag and store them in a dark, cool place. Pick the lima beans while they're still green. Late beets should be thinned. Sow seeds of poppies, bachelor's buttons, and sweet william in the garden where you want them to bloom next spring. Gather and dry herbs and flowers at their peak in a cool, airy, and shady place. Cut herbs just before the flowers open. Try your hand at saving seeds. For instance, beware that the tomatoes that are hybrids will produce seeds in the fruit, but if you save those seeds from the hybrid plant, you'll get something other than the same variety of the parent tomato. This is because hybrid tomatoes are produced as a combination of other varieties by cross-pollination on purpose to make a bigger or rounder or redder tomato. Conversely, heirloom seeds produce the same plant that the seeds were obtained from. So you can save heirloom tomato seeds from heirloom tomato plants and you'll get the same tomato variety year after year. Heirloom tomatoes are known for their great flavor, but they're not as nice looking, not as uniformly round as hybrids. Heirlooms produce an imperfect shaped tomato, a cat-faced shaped tomato, or not as colorful a shade of red, or not as big as a big boy hybrid. But the heirloom tomatoes do taste great, sometimes way better than those pretty hybrid tomatoes. August is a great time to enjoy gardening, so get out there and have lots of fun. If you have gardening questions, contact your local Penn State Extension office. This has been Bert Sessler, Master Gardener with Penn State Extension. Have a great day.
Rich Farms, a respected name in northern West Virginia and southwest Pennsylvania, has been installing quality landscapes for over 30 years. Their nursery is stocked with a wide range of high-quality trees and shrubs, soils and mulches, perennials, and seasonal color to complement any landscape. At Rich Farms, their team of trained landscape design professionals will assist you in creating a relaxed and unique addition to your home with a colorful and natural-looking landscape. Nursery hours are 8 to 5 Monday through Saturday. Visit Rich Farms on Route 857 South between Fairchance and Morgantown, West Virginia. The Penn State Master Gardener has been brought to you by Rich Farms, serving northern West Virginia and southwestern Pennsylvania for over 30 years. Visit them online at richfarms.com or at their nursery located on Route 857 South between Fairchance and Morgantown, West Virginia.
All content for information purposes only is not intended to provide any tax or legal advice or provide the basis for any financial decisions, nor is it intended to be a projection of current or future performance or indication of future results. Opinions expressed are solely those of Gary Boatman and staff. The information discussed has been derived from sources believed to be reliable but is not guaranteed as to the accuracy and completeness and does not purport to be a complete analysis of the materials discussed. The information contained herein should in no way be construed or interpreted as a solicitation to sell or offer to sell advisory services to any residents of any state other than the state of Pennsylvania or otherwise legally permitted. Topics should be discussed with your individual advisor prior to implementation. Purchases are subject to suitability. This requires a review of investors' objective risk tolerance and time horizons. Investing always involves risk and possible loss of capital. Advisory services offered through Boatman Wealth Management, LLC, an investment advisor in the state of Pennsylvania.
Good morning. I'm Certified Financial Gary Boatman, and this is your financial future. We're here every Saturday morning on WMBS, and the goal of our show is to explain Wall Street to Main Street. We're all responsible now for our things. We know that on July 4th, President Trump signed one big beautiful bill, as it was known. And so that make some changes. It kept a lot of things the same, but there were some changes. And if you were considering buying an electric car, you might want to do so before the end of September. At that time, the $7,500 spatial thing is going to expire. But if an electric car is something that you were thinking about buying, you might want to speed that up to get those savings. So I believe that ends the end of September. In the big beautiful bill, there's going to be some things for non-electric cars over the next couple years where you can deduct some interest. Normally, you can't deduct interest. Years ago, people could write off credit card interest and things like that. But today, for a number of years, you have not been allowed to. And although mortgage interest is deductible, for most people, they don't really get to do it because most people do not itemize on their tax return. They take the standard deduction. That was indexed in the big beautiful bill, and for a couple over 65, it's a little over $31,000 next year, so that's big. when I mention credit cards, you can't write off interest. A very concerning fact is credit card debt just recently reached $1.21 trillion. That's a really high figure, 1.21 trillion. And remember, you can't write this off, not with the big beautiful bill or anything, but that's the most expensive debt that you can have. You can see rates 18, 19, 20%, and if you don't make a payment on time, your rates could go up to 30%. So you want to be very, very careful when you use credit card debt. You shouldn't use more than you can reasonably pay off at the end of the month, and then you don't have any interest charges. But going back to the big beautiful bill, a lot of the stuff from the original Trump tax cut was extended. It was called, they said it was made permanent. What does permanent means? That means it doesn't have an expiration date. Doesn't mean that it's never going to change. It is going to change. Since the first Trump tax cut, there's been 6 major tax bills, including Secure Act 1.0 and 2.0. So you need to keep up on tax planning. Everybody does tax preparation. That's when before April 15th, you get all your statements together and you either do it yourself or plug it in some software or go to your tax preparer and they figure out what the damage is. If you want to keep the damage lower, you need to take advantage of tax planning. It's a completely different thing. And a lot of people have most of their savings in qualified accounts. That means things like thrift savings plans, 403Bs, 401Ks, IRAs, deferred comp. That means Uncle Sam is your partner. And it's not unusual that people have the majority of their money in those because we thought 2 things were going to be true in retirement that probably aren't. One was that taxes were going to be lower. Now, taxes right now have stayed the same. They didn't get lower for most people. There were a few little exceptions, but the majority stayed the same. That's good. That helped most people that they stayed the same. But the deficit is growing, and at some point, taxes are going to go up. We can't keep passing on to our children and our grandchildren these huge deficits. And we know we're going to be dealing with a big Social Security issue within 8 years when the trust fund runs out of money. We'll talk about that at a different time. But if you have a lot of money in qualified accounts, then you need to figure out how to get it out. If they all go out at one time, let's just say you had $500,000 in there and you took it all out at once. Most people would not do that. It's not good. You could lose almost 38 to 39% to taxes. So that would, on $500,000, that would be just under $200,000 in taxes. With some good planning, you can reduce that tax bill a lot. That's one of the things that we do at Boatman Wealth Management. We help with tax planning. So tax planning says how over our lifetimes do we pay the lowest amount of taxes that we legally have to. Most people don't want to pay more than they're required to, yet many, many people do. If you don't want to be in that boat, if you don't want to be paying more than you need to, it's important to give us a call at 724-684-6600. There also were some temporary things that expire at the end of President Trump's term on some no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. There's phase-out limits. They're a little bit more complicated, so you want to look into that if you're into those categories. Next year, in 2026, there is going to be, it happened during the pandemic, where you could give some money. You know, you hear charitable contributions are tax deductible. Well, technically they are, but in reality, most aren't, because most people, as I mentioned earlier, do not itemize, and you have to itemize. unless you have a ton of mortgage and a lot of medical costs that are over 7.5% of your adjusted gross income, you're probably not going to itemize. Starting next year, not for this year, but starting next year, there is going to be some deductions that you can get. I believe it's going to be $1,000 for a person and $2,000 for a couple for qualified contributions. It's important to remember those are tax deductions. They're not tax credits. They're still valuable, but not near as valuable. A credit is a dollar for dollar savings over what it would be. So if you owed $1 in tax and you had $1 credit, you owe nothing. If you had $1 of income, taxable income, and you had a 10% credit, or a 10% deduction, you would pay tax on 90 cents instead of $1. So there's a huge, huge difference. But tax planning is very, very important. Remember, it's not just how much you earn on your investments that matters, it's how much you get to keep. And yet a lot of people don't think about that. So that's something we want to make you aware of. We want our listeners to be to be prepared, and we want to put your family in the best financial shape possible. I want to talk a little bit about interest rates. You may have noticed at the banks, at the credit unions, interest rates are going down. CDs and that have gone down substantially. Recently, we were able to get 5.5% safely for some of our clients. Rates are subject to change, but at the time of recording this, it's still available, 5.5%. If you need higher rates to keep up with inflation, hasn't gone down the whole way, and we know that the economy may or may not be slowing. We're starting to see some signs. We don't know exactly what's happening, but it's important that you and your family be prepared. And if earning money safely is important to you, we can help at Boatman Wealth Management. We have more choices than most of the banks in that have, because we're not limited. We can go out and find the best deals for your family. So again, to get better rates, give us a call, 724-684-6600. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with your financial future.
Did you know the average 65-year-old couple, according to Fidelity Investments, will spend $235,000 on health care over their lifetime? And that does not include long-term care costs on medical expenses. If you are approaching age 65 or getting ready to retire, you will need to sign up for Medicare. When that time comes, it is best to talk to a company like Boatman Wealth Management that offers many options as opposed to hearing from only one company. Costs and plans will vary from person to person. Clients at Boatman Wealth Management are thankful that they can look into a plan that's best for each person and based on their needs. Their goal with Boatman Wealth Management is to keep your out-of-pocket costs as low as possible for your situation. If you are approaching 65 or planning to retire, call the office of Boatman Wealth Management at 724-684-6600. That's 724-684-6600 to get answers to your Medicare questions versus 1-800 whoever answers the phone.
Good morning. I'm Certified Financial Planner Gary Boatman, and this is your financial future. Whenever you're approaching retirement, the number one thing that is important is income planning. Everything starts with income. Legacy, leaving a legacy to loved ones, and even tax planning, although those are both important and there's many other things important, it all starts with income planning. If you don't have enough money to pay your bills and to do what you want, it makes it very difficult to retire. In the old days, when our parents and our grandparents retired, things were much different. The cost of everything was lower. They got less money. I can remember growing up in junior high school, a friend of mine would walk down to a gas station and you could get a can of pop for 15 cents. And McDonald's used to have the All-American meal, And it was a regular hamburger. It wasn't the big one. They only had one size hamburger. And they did have cheeseburgers. And they had French fries and a drink, and it was 45 cents. Gasoline at most stations was 29.9, under 30 cents a gallon. So things were much cheaper. But back at those days, people often worked for one company all of their life, and then they, when they got to be 65, they would retire. They would start Social Security. Social Security started in 1935, and when it originally started, it only dealt with the breadwinner, who at that time, not always, but was often the man. Many mothers at that time were like my mother and my aunts and my grandmother and everything. Their job was taking care of the kids and running the house. And that was a tough enough job, and that's what they did every day. And but at 65, you would go on Medicare. You would possibly get a pension from where you worked, and if you were really lucky, you'd get a gold watch. Well, the gold watch is pretty much gone, and unfortunately, so are the pensions for most people. So they've been replaced by the Accidental Retirement Plan, which is better known as the 401k. Ted Berna worked for a large bank, and he was tasked with the bank. It was getting harder and harder to compete as more foreign goods were coming into the country, and they had to compete on price. So he discovered that the 401k is a section of the IRS regulations, and it was deferred comp. And it was used mostly at the beginning for high-paid executives then. But they got some rulings from the IRS, and people could contribute. Oftentimes, unlike in an IRA, usually in an IRA you can't get matching money. In a 401k, oftentimes you can. I've seen rates vary from 2% to maybe up to 7%, 3 to 5% are more common. But you want to, if you have a 401k available to you at work, you want to take advantage of it, and you want to put in at least as much as the match. So, too many people oversave in a 401k. As a financial planner, I'm never going to tell you not to save more because and to save less, but I can tell you you're saving wrong. If you're not sure how you should be saving to get the best overall outcome for your financial life, we can help you at Boatman Wealth Management, 724-684-6600. But there is a big difference between a pension and a 401k. A pension lasts your lifetime and maybe for your spouse's lifetime. It's often at a reduced benefit, but it lasts for a lifetime. 401ks don't automatically last for your lifetime. It depends on what they're invested in. Remember, a 401k is not an investment. It is a tax feature. And it gives you deferred, when you contribute, you get to take money off of your taxes when the earnings grow tax-free until you take them out. But there are required minimum distributions. The Secure Act 2.0 pushed that back to age 73 now. Eventually it's going to 75. That's in a few years, but most people it's 73 right now. It doesn't matter whether your birthday is on January 1st or December 31st. The year that you turn 73, you have to start taking money. There's a chart that has it. If you need a copy of the chart, we have a real useful financial chart. Has all kinds of good information. It's updated with all the latest tax information and that. I'll be happy to send you one, no cost or obligation. If you give me a call, 724-684-6600, or email me, Gary@BoatmanWealthManagement.com. It's a very useful. We pass out hundreds and hundreds of those every year. We update it. It's a service that we use, and it has great information on it. But one of the biggest concerns of many seniors is the fear of outliving your money. So, how do you do that? If the stock market, if you're invested in the stock market in your 401k, like I say, it's not an investment. That 401k could be invested in the stock market. It could be in an annuity. It could be in a savings account. It can be in a lot of different things, bonds and different items like that. How they perform, if it was in the market and the market kept going up 10% a year, it's unrealistic to think it's going to do that forever. But if it did, and you were taking 4% out, you'd probably never run out of money. It wouldn't be a problem. But there is a phenomenon called sequence of risk returns that can absolutely destroy a retirement. That's if the market crashes early in or right before your retirement. When you're in the accumulation phase, if you're 30 and 40 and you have a long time frame, if you can take the risk of seeing the market go up and down, you shouldn't be watching it every day if you're in the market, then it's the best place to invest because historically the market has done good over time. But there's been periods where it has done very bad. One of those periods was at the beginning of this century, only 25 years ago. We can remember that. We grew up, that we had the 2001 crash and we had the 2008 crash. That seems like ancient history, but it really isn't. And since the 2008, the last 17 years, it's performed pretty darn good. But it's not unusual to have ups and downs. You have to plan on ups and downs. And if the ups and downs happen during your accumulation years when you're still contributing and you're not taking anything out, it doesn't matter because it all catches up. But if you are going to distribution phase or close to distribution, that means you are retired or you're ready to retire or you're hitting 73 and you have to take RMDs. If the market crashes then and you take it out, by the time it rebounds, you don't have as much in there to grow. So it can become, it can really wreck a financial plan. So it's important to measure risk. We have tools to help people measure risk and find out what works best for you. So if also part of income planning, a big part is Social Security planning. In next week's show, we're going to talk much more extensively about Social Security, but it is a very important tool. We're going to talk how maybe you can get tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars more from Social Security next week, so be sure and join us at 8:20 next week on the show. But Social Security planning is very important in income planning. As Social Security is an asset that it's like a pension. You get it for life. Your spouse can get it, and it's part of every income. So that's we're going to take a break coming up here, but income planning is important. If you're afraid that you could run out of money, you saw back on Liberation Day when the market crashed down 10, 15%. We don't know what's going to happen. That shows how fast things could happen. I'm not saying they're going to, but they could happen. If that made you nervous, then maybe give us a call and let's stress test your portfolio and see what options you may have. We're going to take one last break and then we'll wrap up with your financial future.
When it comes to taxes, no one wants to pay more than legally required. Yet many people actually do. The first financial mistake most people make is that they do not have a written financial plan that covers life's many challenges, including taxes. Many people just do tax preparation for April 15th instead of tax planning. Without proper tax planning, what is known as the widow's penalty, a surviving spouse can go into a much higher tax bracket and may even see their Medicare payment increase. Owning the wrong investments can also make your taxes higher. And without proper tax planning, your heirs may pay much more in taxes than necessary. Boatman Wealth Management reminds you that it's not just how much you earn that is important, it's how much you get to keep. To learn how you may be able to lower your tax bill, call the office of Boatman Wealth Management at 724-684-6600.
Good morning. I'm certified financial planner Gary Boatman, and this is your financial future. All the time we're seeing scams on TV and everything. I recently saw where there's a big impersonation scam, and people go, I get every week emails warning me something. I have Comcast at home and in my business, and I was getting emails that Comcast was going to turn off my email if I didn't sign into their new terms, and they wanted me to click on a link. Comcast changes my terms all the time, just like whoever your cable provider and that is. I hear horror stories about a lot of them. The rates just keep going up and up and up. But they kept saying this, and I got to the deadline a couple of times, and it didn't go away, and this has never happened before. So I called Comcast Direct, and I said, I think this is a hoax. A big sign of that is some of these emails I was supposed to respond to were coming from a Gmail account, and I think Comcast or any big company would have their own Comcast.com, not Gmail. And I called Comcast, and they checked their records, and they said, it is a fraud, and we hear about this all the time. So the government is never going to send you an email, the IRS, and most government agencies do not send, whether it's state or local or federal, do not send you emails. So be really, really careful of links you click on. Sometimes these let viruses in. Make sure you have a good antivirus software running on your devices to help protect you. It's amazing how many smart people out there have bad intentions. So protect yourself. At our website, boatmanwealthmanagement.com, we have a cyber page where we keep you up to date on the latest cyber problems and fixes. It tells you if there's a software problem or this or that. We created a shortcut, G-O, BWM, our initials for boatmanwealthmanagement.com, and check out the cyber page. There are also recordings of some past radio shows on there if there's something you want to hear or share with a friend. And I'm going to spend last few minutes of today's show, and I'm going to talk about Medicare. Medicare open enrollment will be coming up on October 15th, and it goes till December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day. That is the time where all seniors make their decisions for next year's Medicare. Maybe your doctors have changed, maybe your prescriptions have changed, and you get updated. And that's the time all the insurance companies right now are filing with CMS what their rates are going to be. My daughter Kelly, who is our Medicare specialist, is doing 40 hours of training now. She's been doing this for a decade, and she still has all this extra training to make sure she's up on all the newest thing. Remember, Medicare is the national healthcare policy for people 65 or older. If you or your spouse work for a company with 20 or more employees, you are covered by a credible health plan, credible meaning equal to Medicare, you do not have to go on. If you don't go on when you are required to, you can be charged a 10% penalty for every year you're late for life, and there are certain times of the year where you might have to wait 8-9 months before you can get coverage. So if you're new to the area, if you're turning 65, you can sign up to 3 months before, the month of, or 3 months after. You don't want a gap in health care. That can wreck your finances. We know how much all these health care costs are. It's very expensive if you're having appendicitis or a heart attack or anything like that. You have to pay book price. The insurance companies negotiate big discounts. So remember, it's not that long. You're going to start seeing all the Medicare ads on TV. We get past Labor Day. We start getting bombarded with it. How do you sort through all the clutter? If you go to the mall and you see a Kisos out there, they only have one insurance company. Kelly has all of the top Medicare insurance companies, and she helps people. She's helped hundreds of people find the best coverage to keep their out-of-pocket costs as low as possible. One of our listeners was put into a company by somebody, a company that changed, and they got to us soon enough, and Kelly found out that she could get them $500 a month out-of-pocket savings on healthcare costs. Now, she can't do that for everybody, but she researches it, and it's good to review it each year. So if you're going on Medicare, call Kelly. And if you have open enrollment, make sure you plan to, she's up to date on all the new changes that are going to be happening. You can reach Kelly at the office at 724-684-6600. As we're wrapping up today's show, I want you to be sure and join us again next Saturday morning. We're going to take a big look at Social Security. There's probably some things that you don't realize about Social Security, and we're going to talk about some of the challenges that Social Security is facing and how they need to be dealt with. And we need Washington to get on board with this. They will eventually, but we need to encourage them. The sooner the better. For today, I'm Certified Financial Planner Gary Boatman. We believe in holistic planning to make your family's financial future the best possible. For any questions or for help, take advantage of our no-cost, no-obligation strategy session by calling 724-684-6600. And have a great day.
Certified Financial Planner Gary Boatman of Boatman Wealth Management reminds you that although Social Security is a valuable retirement asset for most people, many miss out on tens of thousands of dollars of potential income. If you are approaching retirement or considering starting Social Security, take advantage of the free Social Security Maximization Report by calling Boatman Wealth Management at 724-684-6600. It just might put thousands of dollars in your pocket. Already receiving Social Security? Make sure you are receiving all you deserve by calling Boatman Wealth Management for their free Social Security audit. The recently passed Social Security Fairness Act could make you eligible for additional benefits. Social Security planning is important for everyone, especially for people with large qualified retirement accounts such as IRAs, 401ks, and TSP. With proper planning and a call to Boatman Wealth Management, you may be able to save thousands of dollars in taxes. Make your retirement the best it can be. Call Boatman Wealth Management today at 724-684-6600.
Get ready, Somerset County. The 125th Annual Somerset County Fair returns August 14th through 23rd at the fairgrounds in Myersdale. For just $12 per person plus $2 car parking, dive into top-tier livestock shows, nightly grandstand acts, and thrills on the Midway. Catch demolition derbies, tractor pulls, and dirt drag races by Appalachian Outlaws Motorsport. Family fun in the Laurel Highlands. Don't miss it. For full details and special days, visit SomersetCountyFairPA.com.
Hi, I'm Josh Krysak. Bill Madden will join me at the National Pike Steam Horse and Gas Association show on Saturday, August 9th from 12 to 2 p.m. in Malden, PA. Stop out, win some great prizes, and take in everything the Steam Horse and Gas Show has to offer. Our coverage of the National Pike Steam Horse and Gas Show is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts, Attorney Lisa J. Boudet, Lifetime Awnings, the Mariscotti Insurance Agency, Tri-County Heating, Lacey's Auto and Truck Repair, and Mutt's on Market Street. We will see you there.
Are you interested in earning your degree online or finishing your degree? Take your career to the next level at Salem University. Salem University offers more than 50 online degrees and certificate programs. Learn how you can advance your career with degrees in nursing, business, education, criminal justice, and IT. Salem has 4-week classes starting once a month. Contact Salem University by dialing 844-462-9128, option 1, or visit salemu.edu to see if you are eligible for our partnerships offering tuition scholarships.
Hi, this is George Fonbenko. Join me every Saturday at 10 a.m. for the Sports Line on WMBS, brought to you by Tom Vernon and KC Sports Cafe, 243 South Mount Vernon Avenue, offering good, affordable food with pickup and delivery options, and voted best in Fayette breakfast, lunch spot, and all-around restaurant. The Firestone Insurance Agency in Normalville, and by Bogies at Duck Hollow, now under new management, serving lunches and dinners Monday through Saturday from 12 to 9 and Sunday from 12 to 5.
Sympathetic help and counsel have always been a part of the Jerome W. Shell Funeral Home's services. The Jerome W. Shell Funeral Home is proud to announce their association with Forethought Life, a program designed to let you plan your funeral in advance. If you're between the ages of 40 and 90, you can't be turned down for any reason. For more information on Forethought Funeral Planning, call the Jerome W. Shell Funeral Home, one of the area's oldest Forethought members. And now to the obituaries.
It's time now for the obituary announcements for Saturday, August the 9th. Marilyn Jean Marty Lyons Handford passed away on Sunday, August the 3rd at the Blue Ridge Retirement Community in London, Ohio at the age of 91. She was born in Smithfield, Pennsylvania. To honor Marty's life, the family will receive friends on Sunday, August 10th from 12 noon until 12:30 p.m. Starting at 12:30 p.m., the floor will be open to share stories of Marty at the Radar McDonald Tidd Funeral Home in West Jefferson, Ohio. Marilyn Jean Marty Lyons Handford. Karen Boyd, age 56, of Uniontown, passed away on Sunday, August 3rd. Friends and family will be received today from 12 noon until 3 p.m. at the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory on 136 North Gallatin Avenue in Uniontown, where a prayer service will be held at 2:30 p.m. Interment will be private. Karen Boyd. Catherine L. Johnson Cohen, age 78, of Uniontown, passed away on Tuesday, July 15th in the WVU Ruby Memorial Hospital in Morgantown. Arrangements have been entrusted to the Burhans Krause Funeral Home on 28 Connellsville Street in Dunbar. In accordance to Kathy's wishes, there will be no public visitation. However, a celebration of life will be held at a later date. Catherine L. Johnson Cohen. And that concludes the obituary announcements for Saturday, August 9th.
The obituaries are presented Monday through Friday at 12:20 p.m., Saturday mornings at 8:50, and Sundays following the noon news. Today's obituaries were sponsored by the Jerome W. Shell Funeral Home, 164 South Mount Vernon Avenue, Uniontown, a Forethought Funeral Planning member.
Are you considering a project design and don't know where to start? K2 Engineering offers a wide range of professional civil, architectural, and municipal services to meet your individual project needs. Our versatility combined with our personalized approach is what sets us apart as a full-service engineering and consultation firm. To learn more about our services, please visit us on the web at www.k2engineering.net. K2 Engineering, where customer service is our priority.
Think about the last time you thanked yourself for something. Maybe it was that me time you took last Tuesday, or finally learning Italian. Want to do something you'll really thank yourself for later? Start creating a plan for your financial goals today. State Farm agent Nathan Ferguson is right here in Uniontown to help you look at the things you want to save for and build a plan to set you up for success. The earlier you start planning, the better off you will be. Call State Farm agent Nathan Ferguson today, then thank yourself later. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Attention, active and retired coal miners. Have you been screened for black lung? Here at the Black Lung Clinic at Centerville Clinics, we offer yearly screenings, diagnosis, education, and treatment options to help you live a fuller, healthier life. We provide care regardless of your ability to pay. Call Centerville Clinics today at 724-632-6801. Do it today.